This time I brought, I was here for the last session. And I had some technical difficulties. And so this time I ended up bringing our IMIT manager officer to the presentation. So it was much better getting ready for this presentation than the last time it was on my own. So welcome everybody. My name is Ellen Peters. I'm the proactive recruiter here in Prince Edward Island for the RCMP. The last time I did speak specifically about jobs as a police officer. I'll just briefly speak on that in case people were not here at the last session. And then we'll kind of move on into the civilian world of the RCMP as well. So the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, we have two sort of sides to our organization, and one cannot work without the other. One probably needs the civilian side more than the other, but as a police officer, the basic requirements to join are that you have to be 18 years old. You have to speak English or French. You don't need to be bilingual. You have to have your grade 12 education. You have to have a driver's license, and you have to be a Canadian citizen or have your permanent resident status for 3 years. We can't allow you to apply prior to having that for 3 years, although that is something that I get asked probably weekly on. But those are the basic requirements, and you do have to go to Regina, Saskatchewan for our training. It's 26 weeks long. And then when you graduate, you'll get your posting to your detachment. And typically the RCMP likes to see you do general duty policing for 3 to 5 years. That 3 to 5 years is really for that foundational work. There's field training and coaching that you do during that time, and it gives you a great outlook on the organization and a little bit more understanding. After that 3 to 5 years, we have 150 different job opportunities that you can do as a police officer in the organization. And those can be anything from our canine unit to our forensic identification, to our tech crime, major crime, war crimes. We do international policing, national, we do provincial, municipal, and we also police different airports as well. So there's lots of different opportunities as a police officer within the organization. I went over some of the basic requirements. Some things that would be considered a disqualifier would be any criminal code charges, any criminal charges in any country other than Canada as well. It could be anything as well, like if you were charged and you received a pardon, then that would be the exception. But if you've been involved in any serious crime, and maybe you were not charged, but you were involved, that would also be a disqualifier. So there are some things that would prevent you from being able to apply and going through successfully. But those are things that we can talk about. I believe that at the end of the presentation, my contact information will be shared. We have a lot of upcoming events. On January 29th, we're going to be doing a fitness session where it's an exposure for people to come and do that with us. If anyone's of interest, we can get you signed up and registered for that. There's lots of different events coming up, and that is in relation to the police officer side of the organization. I do always touch on the other side, and that would be the public servant, civilian member side. So there's lots of different opportunities in relation to that side of the organization. It's just you go about it a little bit different. You don't have to go to Regina, Saskatchewan for the training, and the requirements for each job are different depending upon what job you're applying for. And so today, our manager, Mike Gallant, is here to speak a little bit about some of those opportunities and how you can go about doing that. At the end, again, my contact information will be shared. And if it is something that is of interest to you, just let us know and I can put you in contact with the right people. So I'll pass it over to Mike. He's a wealth of knowledge in a lot of different areas, and I'm happy that he was able to come along today.
Great, thanks very much, Ellen. I'm Mike Gallant. I'm the Divisional Informatics Officer here for RCMP Division. Look after the IT and information management requirements for the division here on PEI. I'll get you to advance the next slide. We have a few, just a little snapshot of some of the public service employee careers. Telecom stop operator and dispatcher. So those are the people when you call 911 or if you call our non-emergency line, they will take complaints and it's lots of opportunity there. Information management, IT, strategic planning. Of course, everything right now you can tell is data driven. Lots of work being put into strategic planning. Federal policing has a number of opportunities. RCMP is somewhat split, even again, into our regular policing, where the members you see out in the road and marked police cars, and federal policing, which police the federal mandates. So they have a lot of, there's financial crime analysts, there's a lot of national positions there as well. Unit assistants, detachment assistants, court liaisons, we have people that go in court. So that's just a small snapshot in L Division on PEI. There are countless other opportunities throughout the RCMP nationally. I'll touch on a few of the IT ones there. I'll get you to advance to the next slide. So I'll speak a little bit about my unit. My unit has about 15 staff in various units. So those units, we have IT operations and radio support. So, all of our members have Apex radios on their belts and in their cars, and a variety of requirements around that as well. We make sure that our all of our mobile workstations and cars are connected so that we have situational awareness and member safety. So all sorts of technology we're using for that. We're expanding on that pretty much daily, trying to make those tools more efficient and more user-friendly for the units. Then we have information management. They look after our administrative records. We have operational records management. Anytime you have an interaction with a police officer attached to an active file, that file is got to be stored, and there are privacy and security requirements around that. As well as using those interactions to understand the work we do, the stats around that. So that's very big right now. We're also launching a body-worn camera unit. We expect that to be live here this year. So that's another unit that will be supporting members having body-worn cameras, vetting the data, the video that comes out of that, as well as working on the policy and guidelines around its use. So with that, you can tell there's a very big variety of backgrounds, education. We have people working with us with master's degrees, also people that are working with community college, high school, that type of thing. So all sorts of backgrounds and educations, different skill sets, and lots of experience there. We're moving forward, of course. Every department in the federal government, as well as businesses, looking at data analytics. They're already on it, and stat-based reporting. We're really pushing hard to try to move ourselves along with that as well. So we're expecting lots of opportunity there. Cloud-based offerings, of course. Given the RCMP and the nature of the work we do, we have to take a step back on a lot of those things because of our security requirements, but we're working on taking advantage of those and moving along with those, as well as new technologies, not new technologies, but leveraging desktop virtualization and those cloud-based offerings. That's a little snapshot of what we're doing. I ran a quick check on, there's going to be a link you guys will have in the coming, in the chat, I believe, with a jobs website for federal government positions. I ran a quick check on national IMIT opportunities, and there's everything there from computer support manager to team leads to digital evidence specialists, people that would be gathering digital evidence from IT components, whether it be phones or computers. Project managers, lots of software developing, so all sorts of opportunities there nationally as well as locally with RCMP. So if you could advance to the next slide. The next slide will kind of talk a little bit about this is the jobs.gc website. It will show you any open opportunities. You won't see all the internal positions, but you'll see anything that's open to the public, anything that a member of the public can apply to. And this just isn't RCMP specific. This is for all departments. I'm sure colleagues at Coast Guard and National Parks will probably mention that as well, that there's lots of postings on there. There's from all sorts of employees, from clerks to executives. So there's something there. There's also remote work opportunities in there. So all sorts of things you can go in and peruse. That link is, I believe, being provided in the chat. It does, you can also go in and set up a alerts so that you get any jobs that may be of specific interest to you. If you think you are in an IT stream, you want to do that, you can go in and set up alerts there. So definitely worth checking that out. It's a bit of a process to get through these public service jobs, but they try to make the process as transparent and as fair as possible. So we lots of safeguards and it's not a quick process, but at the same time, it's worthwhile. And we like to think of ourselves as an employer of choice and want to keep it that way. So I don't know, anything else, Ellen, we want to touch on? I guess we can touch on the requirements. You know, there are, because RCMP is, like I mentioned, the nature of the work we do have security requirements on our public servant staff as well. And I do believe we're still hashing out the details, but a permanent residency is required as well. But if there is something that interests you, that shows up on that job bank, and you want to a little more information from the RCMP side, of course, we can't speak to other departments. By all means, reach into us and by the contact information that Ellen has provided, and we can definitely try to walk you through anything that might come up there.
And it is a bit of a process on both sides of the RCMP. Even as a police officer, it takes about 6 to 12 months to get through the application process. So if you're thinking about joining the RCMP in any regard, in any category of employee, just make sure that you start now, because it does take a little bit of time to get through that. But if there's no question, I know that there's time for questions. If anybody has any questions for me or Mike.
Yeah, so if any student has a question, we do have a question on the chat. Renata is wondering, what is the best way to stay informed about upcoming opportunities or organizational updates?
So yeah, the jobs.gc site is a great resource, and you can set up alerts and have them sent right to your inbox. And when a new job is posted, I think it's done daily, so you won't get separate postings. If you have multiple postings that meet your criteria, you'll get them in your inbox. So that's probably where I would start with that, is for any positions within the organization on the public service side. That's where I would keep your eyes open there.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have a questions about those kind of jobs. I think it requires PR or citizenship. So for international students, were there any job opportunity open for them?
Yeah, well, so we are working with our Department of Security to get a better understanding of what is required. It's our security requirements. There's nothing in the job itself that says you have to be a permanent resident, but it does is a factor for the security requirements. So there's we can work with you, like, you know, apply. There will be questions there about your status, about your resident status, and if it's deemed that you can move forward, they'll move you forward.
Okay, sounds good.
I think in summary too, like each job for us as police officers, you need to have your PR for 3 years, but on the public servant side, civilian side of things, it depends upon the job. So each one would be different. So I can't say off the top of my head what specifically for international students, but each one would be different depending upon the security clearance that you need for those jobs. So if you're doing one job, you may only need enhanced reliability security clearance, but then for another one, you might need top secret. And so it would be different depending upon the job.
So yeah, just put your name forward, get those applications in, and they'll if you're eligible, you'll be able to move forward in the process.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for such a interesting presentation. I have shared through the chat the contact information of Ellen. And so do make sure to reach out to her. As Ellen was mentioning, each case will be different for civilian jobs. So don't auto-exclude yourself. You might still have a chance there to apply if you're an international student. Wonderful. Thank you very much for the presentation.